Now, one of my best nymph patterns, especially in the locks, is this one here. This is it looks black, but it's actually claret. It's dark claret, or a sepia, as people would call it. Sepia dun nymph, which basically comes off. Well, where I live, you could get it June time, around about June. It's a great hatch of these flies coming off. Now, you'll see it's it looks black, the nymph, when it swims to the side, you see it in the lochs. Good wet fly would be the marlin claret. Good dry fly would be the ginger quill, which I've caught on a lot when it's on the water. But as a nymph, this is a nymph. So this is what I'm tying at the moment. Now, you need it, the nymph's around about a size 12, though I've tied it in 14s as well and caught on it. So it's a good colour. And it works well. Now, this one's actually tied with the fine copper wire. Now, this is a fine copper wire that I bought in the bigger spool. But to give the idea, UTC do an extra small wire, and this is the diameter of this one. So, now it's reasonably simple to tie. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that, and I'm rubbing this on my nose, that it runs nice and smooth from the spool. And that you use a ceramic type bobbin holder. This is Tiemco. This is a heavy duty version. So that if it's metal to metal, they will grind slightly. Though a lot of the wires we get nowadays have actually got a nice coating on them, so you can get away with it. So anyway, what you do is, this is the way I learned to tie it. Now, you can tie it with thread if you wish, and just add weight or take away the weight, it's up to yourself. Now, copper wire, I just basically build the thorax up. So I come down about halfway, come back up. Now you can see I've left a space about 1.5 mm or so from the eye. And then I'm just, adding a bit of weight to it, just by going up and down with the wire. Now I've left the waist piece, as you can see. The waist piece is still there. I'm using that as a rib. So if I run down to basically, before it goes round the bend. Now I'm using a dark claret now. This is a pheasant tail. It's just a natural pheasant brown, cock pheasant tail, dyed claret. Now I always like enough fibre out, so a good half dozen. Spring at 90 degrees, tips have lined up. You're looking for a tail length around about the body length about there. So put that on your finger and thumb. Now you've got to come round here quick, so make sure you've got the bobbin up close, about 1 inch away from the flies. You don't want it too far away, so that you can get around quick. 1, 2, there we are. And then you take your wire in front, take it up to the beginning of the thorax. Now that being the weakest fibre, you wind towards yourself. Now you can put a wee touch of super glue, which basically helps the fly lasts long anyway. But if you put a wee touch of super glue on there, not much, wind the pheasant tail towards yourself, and then just wind up, as I say, to the beginning of the thorax, which is there. So we just come over the top, a turn or two. I'm not going to lock it in because it's held in with the super glue. Now what I'm going to do here, this is unusual. I've got some hare's ear, mask, which I've actually cut away the far away from the mask and then used a blender. Now you could use a darker colour. Now I have some with dark colour, dark brown or a dark claret for the thorax, but I like this on the thorax. So what I do then, nice straight turn at the back, and then just work your way up, tying in the waist end, the waist of the pheasant tail, which is basically going to be our thorax cover as well. Now just here at the end, I'm going to put on more, just quite loose, to kind of like form legs. Now here you see the space I've left. Just bring your wire to the front. Just bring it to the front there. Just take away this fibre. And then before we bring up the wire, what I'm going to do is just bring out some of the dubbing, especially on top. Just lightly brush it out, and don't worry if you see the copper wire, it's part of the fly, as you can see. Now we bring our wire up, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm bringing this the normal way I wind, the same way I wind with wire, which is crossing over the pheasant tail fibre, which is going to hold it. And then I'm going to pull the waist back into the 4th turn, which is at the beginning of the thorax. At this point here you can bring out, make sure you've got some fibre out for legs. And then continue up, just all the way up to the head. This will rib it in. Just catch in your wire. 1, 2, 3. I usually bend and break this away. Now you've obviously got a bit of fibre there, so we bring over the rest of our pheasant tail fibre, which again is bulking up the thorax, which you want. Come over, nice and tight, 2 or 3 turns. Just use the weight of the bobbin holder to hold it. And then what I'm going to do is take the wire to the eye, winding down, just stroking back any fibre, come back up, that kind of wide turn to the beginning, the top of the head, and then go straight in and whip finish. You will catch the odd wee fibre, don't worry about it. I always do it anyway, so 1, 2, 3. Now at this point I'm tightening the wire, I'm just using my nail to basically make sure it's in line and it's sitting the way I want. And tighten, and then keep your nail on the side, right where the wire's sitting, and bend and break away. So that makes sure it cuts or breaks where you want it. And then, as you can see, there's the odd wee hair and fibre there. We can spend a bit of time just plucking these off. Not that the fish will mind. There we go. I just like to use the Velcro and bring this back. You look, there's a fine hair on the top. Just basically, if you're using the tweezers, just pinch and pull away at the same time. And then when we're happy enough, then just apply some varnish just on the head. I like to make sure there's enough there. So I make sure it soaks in from the eye into the wire. Even if it fills the eye, this is where you do see if you've got an odd wee fibre. You can always, let's say, spend a bit of time pulling them back, pulling them off. Maybe the best times to wait till it's dry, because it'll be quite hard. And there we are. And that's the sepia done. Nymph, it's just a simple fly. Simple shape, ideal for both. I mean, you catch fish in the rivers with these as much as you'll catch in the loch, but it does represent, it does well for when the sepia dun's coming off. And if you want to pull out some fibre, like your dubbing needle, you can do that. And there we are. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And as you can see here, I'm going to show you. Let's come out a wee bit. These are some of the nymphs' pheasant tails that I like to tie. Just the standard one. That's a yellow. It's a dark olive. We've obviously got the hare's ear, and then we'll get the sepia or claret done. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and again, thank you for watching.